Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and today we are going to be reviewing One Piece Chapter 1115 Continental Fragments. So we will be spoiling you, so go read the chapter. And yeah, so please like and subscribe if you have not. Leave a comment, give your thoughts on the chapter, what do you think of our review. And we start off with a cover story with Hiyori and Yamato.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my thoughts. Any thoughts there?
I thought it was Kiku at first, but then I saw that she had two arms.
Yes.
And it makes more sense with Otoko and Hiyori to be together.
Yeah, and it was deeply unfortunate to see this cover story continue in the first two panels. Oh, I mean, not continue, but still in Wano, And the only interesting part about these two panels was that you see a Straw Hat flag hanging up there. So it's like they're part of their territory now, which is cool to see,
Yeah.
And I guess Momo knows about Joy Boy, obviously, through Zunisha and everything like that. So.
But he read all of Odin's journal, right? Same with Yamato. And
yes. So,
I was surprised that it didn't mention that Joy Boy was a pirate in it. So I'm wondering how much was actually conveyed in the laugh tail poneglyph or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. And the next panel I thought was like way more interesting in my opinion. With the G4 naval. So at first I actually thought like, oh my gosh, Kid didn't actually get captured by the Marine, so it's like humiliating because I like only read the top part, and I did like read the bottom initially.
You didn't realize that Kid got fat?
No. I thought this was just like his extras basically,
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense, like his background character. So then I'm like, oh wait, it's him. So
yeah,
which I think that's a kid feat right there. What do you think about it? Because the last time this guy impersonated Luffy, look what happened to Luffy. Mm-hmm. So the kid stocks might be in the roof. I mean, that's only quasi irony, but we'll see.
So
it might actually come back into the game.
So I was gonna say that if it parallels Luffy's journey, like Shanks could be Luffy's Sabaody, where everything gets like obliterated because it kind of used the same language, and Damara Black and his crew is all impersonating Kid and everything like they did with Luffy, so Kid could come back like even stronger because of this.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that Oda brought him back at all.
I know.
Right? And then also that he chose him to impersonate Kid when he could have impersonated Law.
Yeah. And the fact that he escaped. Because last time we saw him, like, Sentomaru hit him with his axe at Sabaody. And, like, apparently he, I guess in the confusion with Luffy fighting the pacifist and everything, he got loose again and impersonated Kid. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, and so I'm only kind of joking, but I mean, there's a bit of seriousness too. Like, this might actually be an indicator of a comeback for Kid.
Yeah. Kids like, invest early.
Yeah, invest early. You get it while the stocks are low. Hurry.
Yeah.
Hurry. Yeah, because like obviously Egghead is like an extension of Sabaody for Luffy, and I'm wondering if this is kind of similar too, because Kid got embarrassed as Sabaody too, but not to the extent Luffy did, and everything like that. So, yeah, I'm kind of curious to see if anything developed too. I don't know. I thought it was interesting. It was hilarious. But so moving on to kind of more of the main part here, they talk about Vegapunk continues to talk about the Great War and the distant past, and then you start seeing the Gorosei get more and more pissed off about this whole thing. Like they're not accomplishing the mission, and then they talk about the alliance among the 20 nations was the only way to take down Joy Boy and his faction. So it wasn't just Joy Boy, but his faction as well.
Yeah.
And Vegapunk purposely chooses not to cast a moral judgment upon this war as well.
Yeah. So two things about that. So first, I think that the faction is probably the D clan, which I think I said this in our theory video about Joy Boy's lineage. It could be that like all the this quote-unquote faction was more like his pirate crew, and they all adopted the letter D in their names as signifiers, because that's why it extends to like giants. But the other thing is that it was interesting that Vegapunk said like, oh, we don't know who, I don't want to judge the morality of the combatants. So, which is weird because we know that the 20 kingdoms all unified and became the Celestial Dragons. So it kind of casts the ambiguity on their characters, at least in the past. So
yeah, something could have changed it, but also he says he didn't know the cause of the war too.
That's true too.
You know, because like we don't know how the D clan acted also as a faction. You know, so yeah, there's so much we don't know, and then we have a lot of presumptions of how the D clan were and all this stuff. But you know, it's kind of hard to say at this point. I mean, not super hard to say, but I think there's a chance of ambiguity, just the way Vegapunk's like presenting it right here. You know?
Yeah, and it's kind of confirmed that from the panel that Joy Boy had the Dika fruit, because we can see it awakened in there.
Yes, right. And so he basically goes back 900 years, and he talks about how they had science that was beyond beyond their science at this time in history for them. And then we get like a flashback of Zunisha and everything, which I find interesting because like, what was it, 800 years ago for Zunisha that Zunisha was sent, you know, on that like basically that prison sentence and everything like that. So
yeah,
Vegapunk's even going back 900 years, which I find interesting. It's not so before the Void Century started, basically, you know. So, and then we get Foxy, which is
Oda's pulling out all the gag characters for this.
He has a smaller ship. That's what points out to me. I guess he's down on his luck.
Well, at the end of the, because I know a lot of people skip over the Long-Ring Land arc, but at the end of the arc, Luffy takes his flag and basically disbands the whole crew, so it's just these ones. And these are the ones, like, if you've seen any of the specials, like, Portia and Hamburg are really the only ones that stick with Foxy. So I guess that's kind of the through line for that.
Yeah. And so they don't really add much of value in terms of dialogue, and then, now, well, here I thought it was kind of interesting with Stussy, and Stussy's like, I need to like stay here, I need to serve Vegapunk, but then Edison's like, there's not much value of you staying here. I find Kaku's reaction kind of interesting. He's just kind of like intently staring and everything like that. So I don't know if there's going to be a change of heart of Kaku, or if he's about to get the upper hand on her, because like she's probably going to transfer him out of there. But maybe in the process of transferring him out of there, he might get the upper hand on her, you know? It's kind of hard to say at this point in time, you know? But would you say that's kind of more like a devious look that he has, or it's kind of like a change of heart look?
I mean, he's kind of silent throughout this whole scene, but he's staring at Stussy. And he only really reacts when she says, like, who am I meant to live for? I have no purpose. So, I don't know. It could be the fact that Kaku himself is just kind of going for the world government, and he's basically been raised like that, right? So maybe he's thinking about that too.
Yeah, so that panel where we do see more of a reaction, it seems less devious. You see more of a frown.
Yeah.
Because he was the only oh, sorry.
I was going to say he seems more sad.
Yes. And I'd say, like, with the Cypher Pull, out of all the Cypher Pull agents, he was the only one that showed remorse after he was defeated in Enies Lobby. You know, where Zoro defeats him, and then Polly tells him that he's fired. And then he reflects back on how he jumped over the fountain and everybody would cheer for him and everything like that. And so he showed remorse and sadness over that whole thing, you know? So, and I think that's starting to like connect to him. She's like, she's serving the way she wants to live her life, independence of the Cyberpol agents, and he's kind of like depressed, that he's serving these type of people,
Yeah.
He gets no joy out of it and everything like that. So I could see a world where Kaku goes back to the Galley La company.
Maybe.
I could see that happening.
I think that would be like at the end of the story, but yeah.
Yeah, in his story. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know about Lucci, but I think Kaku I can see.
Yeah, Lucci's still kind of stunned from Mars.
Yeah.
Flying in there. But yeah, speaking of Mars really quick, we see that he's like using his Conqueror's Haki to take out all the transponder snails. So we've seen a couple of them use Conqueror's Haki now, so we can assume that all of them have it.
Yeah, except Saturn. I'm joking.
We don't know that.
I'm just talking trash.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, and so it was interesting to see Bonnie go against the Gandhi Gorosei. And I'm just so used to calling him that.
Yeah.
Nostro. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. So, he does this huge slice. Is that the Labo Stratum that he's cutting in half right there?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the proper name for it. Okay, yeah. Basically, he's just trying to stop this broadcast, so he's just slicing everything. And I guess the amount of life forms that are clouding his judgment. So, is he cutting it to cut off the broadcast, or is he trying to get these life forms away so he can think more clearly?
So from how I read it, he's saying like sense the living voices, and that there are too many up in the Labostratum. So, I think he's trying to sense the origin of the broadcast, because we see Mars taking out all the snails, and with this we see that where it was cut, like we see all the Cypherpol agents that were there like falling, and I can assume that he's trying to kill them to like silence their voices so he can more pinpoint in on the transmission. But yeah, and that kind of frees up the Seraphim too. But
which isn't good for the good guys.
Yeah. Also, I think this is a bigger feat than Mihawk. So
Mihawk Seraphim or Mihawk in general?
Mihawk in general, because I mean the biggest thing we've seen from Mihawk is the tidal wave at Marine Corps. Yeah, or the meteor in not Film Red, Stampede. But this is like a whole island-sized area that he's cutting in half. So
yeah. So this is Zoro's final opponent, obviously, clearly, or something. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah, I guess I haven't looked into it, but I guess there's been debate on this topic now more. It's and I think it's more based just simply because Sanji got a hit on him, and they're like, oh, that can't be Zoro's final opponent because Sanji got a hit on him.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. But
I mean, I think it just confirms that, like, I think he's the most physically, or the most combat impressive of the Gorosei that we've seen at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. So do you think there's a chance of Seraphim or get back under their control and everything?
It could be, or they could fall under Bonnie's control, because Bonnie has the ultimate command over all of them. So
yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, so we see all the Cyberpol agents fall. We see Zoro's home village, and then we get more kind of the revelation here about the continents, how the world was not swallowed, it was swallowed by the ocean, and it talks about how it goes up 200 meters.
Which is
dragons
like
taking it.
I was gonna say for our North American viewers, that's like 600 feet. So that's a lot in terms of the flooding and everything. But go on.
Yeah, Dragon's doing nothing in this panel. He's looking east, and then
I mean,
not reality.
Yeah, he has his traditional 3 dot marks, and same with his stellar protege Sabo.
Yeah. So, Revolution's doing what they do best, nothing, and then so Nojiko's here. With the tangerines and all that kind of stuff too, so that was kind of a cool little callback to just kind of seeing all their initial villages, except like, we already saw Kai already. We haven't seen let me think, the Baratier. Yeah, that's kind of like just in terms of like the main, the main crew.
I mean, honestly, the Baratier has it good. Doesn't matter if it's flooding or not. They're on a ship.
True. Let's go, Sanji fans for the win. But I guess the Min Smokes as well too. You can add them in that category.
Yeah, but just really quick. So it kind of makes sense because it said that back in the Void Century, it was easier to connect to each other. So it kind of makes sense that the whole Pangea naming convention is there. Because that's all one landmass and everything.
Yeah.
But so it makes you think about all the civilizations that are underneath the 200 meters are basically like Wano, and everything at this point is on top of mountaintops, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, and I think so also we get the idea that this is more intentional. This isn't an accidental thing.
Yeah, which kind of throws one of our theories out of the water.
So if that's kind of more the case, if this is more intentional, I think it brings up a lot of potentialities where, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. I'm going back and forth on this, where I could see a lot of the world, because if you see the Marines fodder, their reactions here, they're like, wait, what? They're believing everything, and they're not angry about being told about this, or do they see concern that this is going out to the world?
Yeah, and I think it's hilarious that like the Marines and everyone are taking it so seriously, and the people in Mocktown are literally just laughing at it, like, we don't care about this.
So I don't know. I find it more interesting. I just like the potential fallout that could come out of this. Maybe it's like a whole video worth to talk about. But like when Doflamingo talks about the throne wars and people are fighting for a throne, and we didn't know about Emu back then. This was once he was captured and interrogated by Surya, and he gives that speech. It makes you think how many people are going to turn on the world government, the Marines included, and it doesn't mean that they're all going to be on the same team necessarily. I'm just saying, like for example, Akainu cares about the world. He just wants to kill pirates right away, and Emu destroying the world, that goes against his beliefs. Blackbeard wants a world to take advantage of. He doesn't want it to be destroyed. So it makes you think like more and more like this is why they're gonna like try to turn more and more on the government now. So I don't know, it's kind of a thought there, especially since Blackbeard, Van Augur expressed like, we want to rip you down from the throne, and now they have more of a reason to do it.
I mean, realistically, I think this is the point where the revolutionaries can slip in and undermine a lot of the government stuff with this announcement. The government control.
And I think like this could like connect more, I'd say, towards the end of so basically we get more information again. This isn't natural, this doesn't make any sense, and this is like as a result of the ancient weapon technology. So do you think this is from do you think this is one of the ancient this is the Uranus ancient weapon, or do you think the Mother Flame? Actually, but I don't think it's, because the Mother Flame seems like a quasi recent invention.
Yeah,
because this seems
it definitely
this blood has been Yeah, so this flooding thing has been going on for a while, which makes you think it might be Uranus that's going on, you know?
To me, it seemed, he says, the disaster 800 years ago was caused by ancient weapons technology. I want to see the official translation of it, but if it's just the ancient weapons technology, has it been stated that there's only the 3 ancient weapons? Could there be more? Or there's 3 that we know of, but
Yeah.
I mean, just thinking about what the 2 that we know of are, there's Pluton, which is a ship, and then there's Poseidon, which controls the Sea Kings. So just in terms of those 2 powers, especially like Pluton, it seems like they're meant to counteract this in a way.
Yeah, and since Uranus is like based off the ancient Greek personification of the sky, you know, and things like that, so it may be a way to safeguard themselves from this ocean and things like that, you know, and they want to destroy it, you know. But yeah, it's weird because they want to cause its destruction in the world. But I always find it strange that the world government felt the need to maintain the balance of the world, you know, and things like that. But maybe the balance of the world was a way to just like keep people from overthrowing them, like keeping everybody fighting each other, for them to wait for something to happen, maybe like the complete flooding of the world, you know, because if the whole world turned against the world government, then they might be in trouble.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's the whole reason why this broadcast is such a big deal.
Because everybody seems like sympathetic. The only person we don't really see is Blackbeard and his crew. We see the island, but we don't see his crew, with the exception of Kuzan, you know?
So do you think that he knows about this? And do you think, like, how many people do you think would know this? Do you think it's just Imu and the Gorosei that know about this?
Yeah, because it looks like Akainu didn't know, or Kuzan didn't know. I assume Garp didn't know, or else he would have done something about it.
Yeah. And
so
and now now the whole world's gonna know, and big news didn't even get to spread that information.
Yeah,
he's getting told
to is trying to censor the media.
He's getting told to shut up by Best Girl.
Vivi, she doesn't believe in the First Amendment. She's silencing the journalists that are the brave ones that go on the front lines every day to save us, you know, like Big News Morgan. So it's truly a travesty. And so basically it was caused by 800 years ago. This is where it began to sink the world and everything like that. And I think it's fair to say that the D-Clan civilization is buried underwater because it's a way for them to erase it from history, you know? No, so so what do you think Emu's gonna do next? Because it says like it's still ongoing, and then it's just a close-up of Emu's face.
Yeah. So.
And it looks like he cuts a butterfly in half. Is that, or are they just flying around him?
I think they're just flying around, but it's interesting.
Okay, yeah.
The whole thing with Emu and the butterflies and everything. I don't know. It's weird because the Great War that they're talking about, apparently it spanned for like over 100 years, or like in that 100-year void century. So
yeah.
I guess it's been kind of like a behind the scenes type of thing. But from here on, with people knowing more about it, like I said earlier, this could cause like major upheavals in the world. Even like we saw like what Lulucia got destroyed for just for harboring Sabo after he saw Emu. So
yeah,
having this information, like Emu could just say, well, we'll just wipe out everyone, because
Yeah.
It's interesting because, like you said, the Mother Flame is a more recent invention, but they said that Vegapunk says that it's the way that it rose in that 100 years couldn't have been natural. So there's something else besides the Mother Flame that can do this type of power. So
and it could be Uranus, or it could just be Emu himself.
Yeah.
You know, not entirely sure.
Yeah. I don't know, because it's also the whole thing with I don't know. I just keep thinking back to the whole Fishman prophecy thing, because now that we know that the arc was so the poneglyph was an apology from Joy Boy, so maybe Joy Boy's thing about bringing them to the surface, his apology for that, was maybe an apology that he let the world flood, and the surface is not what he said it was going to be. Because civilization would have had to have rebuilt after this, this whole flooding. So the fishermen couldn't have been taken to the surface and lived up there.
Yeah. And the world government, kind of like the saviors, rebuilding civilization, like a new order, basically.
Yeah. But once again, that like relates back to labeling Joy Boy a pirate, and then being like, oh, he's bad, and they like, maybe this whole thing could have been pinned on Joy Boy, like back in the day. Maybe we'll get like a No Linda-esque flashback where he's blamed for everything.
Yeah, and I think there's definitely this dimension of what I find interesting on a narrative level is that sailing on the seas was seen as freedom, you know, and fulfilling your dreams according to Luffy, but now it seems like the seas are something that inhibit your freedom. So I find that a little, not like a contradiction, but maybe some contrary, just like kind of just like a paradox in a way, where it's like you get into this idea of like, well, no, the ocean is what kind of keeps the people in prison, you know, and they don't have freedom, you know.
Yeah, and maybe that's and maybe that's why they're going after pirates, because the pirates sail the seas freely. And maybe they do want to keep everyone separated, so that they don't rebel against the government in the big way. And they have like the token reverie for all the major kings or whatever, but behind the scenes it's all being controlled by Emu. So
so I'd say those are my thoughts for this chapter. I mean, I think we could definitely do another analysis video about some of the themes in here for sure, because there's definitely a lot you could dissect more and more, but I thought it was really, really interesting. Good chapter. It's crazy that we're getting these revelations now.
Yeah.
It's just
no break.
Big deal.
No break next week.
Yeah, the biggest deal of them all. Yeah.
And I thought this arc was going to be over by this chapter, so there goes my prediction. But yeah, I think just based on Vegapunk's own testimony that he doesn't have the whole story, but we're eventually going to get a Joy Boy flashback, and I'm looking forward to that. But this is just the little teaser that we're getting.
Yeah, right, for sure. But
besides that, good chapter and everything.
Yeah, no, loved it for sure. So please like and subscribe, leave a comment, everyone. So we will try to hopefully get out of One Piece. Let's see, a One Piece analysis video on some of the themes of this chapter. If not, we'll just cover what's going on next week, and then we're probably most likely going to get a Jujutsu Kaisen chapter over the weekend end too. So just keep your eyes out for that, and we will see you all soon. Thank you for watching and supporting us. So please like and subscribe if you are not, and we will see you soon. Peace.
See ya.